Okay, this is the Life magazine for October 16th, 1970. So you're looking at a 50-year-old magazine. I purchased this on the Market Square in Paris, Texas when I was a teenager collecting these. I paid $1 for it at that time from a man named Doc Mason. Doc Mason used to be behind where the Market Square is now next to the skate park. Notice that this was originally owned by someone in Sherman, Texas who had subscribed to it. Notice on the cover is Agnew, vice president at the time. Agnew on the warpath, cassette TV, The Good Revolution is when some of the earliest VCRs were first coming out. And then Women's Lib by Claire Booth Luce. Now we're going to take a look at the inside ads. Here's a wonderful ad for Trinitron Sony television, showing how beautiful the color was. Here, of course, is the index page for Life. Now, notice Janis Joplin and Jimi Hendrix had recently died, and that's mentioned drugs and death in the land of rock. Fifth victim of Kent State. Kent State was a recent event still, and was being discussed in this magazine. Of course, you know Nixon was president here in 1970, and there's the presidency by Hugh Sidey, who was a regular Life columnist. Here's an ad for Silva Thin, Lowest in Tar. Cigarette ad. Magazines were full of cigarette ads back then. Seagram's 7, Crown and Company. This is a party where everybody's drinking in the 70s. And as you can see, Seagram's 7 was the drink. And look at those wonderful 70s fashions. She's carving the turkey or the ham there. Wonderful 70s fashions. Quite a festive affair in this ad. Okay, now moving right on to the next page. We have a gallery. This is historical. There were lots of historical pieces that were featured in Life magazine, along with fabulous photography, which is what made the magazine so wonderful. And again, these are all historical pictures. And again, that's part of what made Life such a big deal. One of the leading magazines. Here's a series of books that Life came out with that could be ordered, dealing with New England, the border states, so on. It was a series of concerning the United States, the mountain states. Okay, here we go. Pre-Columbian melting pot. A lot of articles on archaeology and anthropology, of course, were always in Life magazine. Here's another fabulous 70s fashion cigarette ad. Okay. Doesn't get much better than this, folks. 1970 Life magazine. Another wonderful lavish ad. This one, of course, for General Telephone and Electronics. Okay, moving right into the 1971 Duster. There's your nice, wonderful automobile ad. There's you another shot of the Duster. Of course, Life always continued stories throughout the issue. Again, some more wonderful advertisements, wonderful pictures. Melanie was, at the time, you may recall, about a year later in 1971, she had a brand new key. I've got a brand new pair of roller skates. There's Delta. And here, as you can see, is Ronrico drink ad. And here is a clock ad from West Clocks. And here is a telephone ad. Avon. Avon's been around forever, at least 100 years. It's wonderful. My dad collected Avon bottles. My dad had some of these Avon bottles you're seeing in this picture. And Avon was really big in the early 70s. Still is, I guess. Wonderful pictures. The photography, the wonderful pictures and the wonderful ads is part of what made Life magazine such a fantastic deal. Again, some wonderful stuff. And another ad with a wonderful TV ad, this time for Emerson. Now I'm going to show you another wonderful 70s ad there. Really captures look at that coffee table. Really captures the fashion of the 70s and the spirit of the times. Here's the Agnew article. Agnew on the warpath. A lot of pictorials regarding Agnew, vice president at the time. Here we are. Here's Jimi Hendrix. recently died, drug overdose, and Janis Joplin recently died, drug overdose. Two tragedies, drugs and death, in the rundown world of rock music. Little wigs for little girls. Another wonderful shot. A General Electric ad for a washing machine or a dryer. Mostly in retirement. Here's another nice car ad for 71 Ford LTD. The fifth victim of Kent State, as mentioned earlier, Kent State. This is a survivor here who's in a wheelchair from his wounds. Again, Kent State was a big deal. And there's someone helping this individual who was wounded in his wheelchair. I don't hate the guardsman who shot me. He had a very wonderful attitude. Okay, the earliest VCRs that were coming out. There we go. A Good Revolution Goes on Sale, cassette TV they were calling it at the time. And of course movies were being released for this, as you can see. Very similar to the later VCRs. And there's a Peanuts episode that was released on video cassette back then. Of course we all knew that John Wayne would be a big part of it. I noticed the prices of the early VCRs were just astronomically high. Later on, like all products, they came down. The VCRs were very high back then. Video jukeboxes and homework on tape. They had all kinds of plans. Notice they were reel-to-reel, some of them, cylindrical. And that is a look at, and there's Claire Booth Luce, who was the leading figure at Life on Women's Lib. So this was the October 16th, 1970 issue of Life magazine.